It's us.
What we do in life echoes in eternity.
Us. Sometimes we can be our own worst enemies. Many issues plague the world that are caused by us, human beings. And I'm talking about everything from black on black crime, to racist crimes, to government corruption, to the massive corporate takeover of our nation. We even are the cause of a lot of our own hurt and pain because we tend to make decisions that are bad for us, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Jordan Peele, the creator of the thriller film Get Out, is back with the new horror film called Us. And just like he did with Get Out, people are already seeing a deeper social message behind this film. But exactly what that social message may be is kind of unclear now, because this movie has yet to release. One theory I found floating around online actually suggests that Jordan Peele was trying to warn us, or African Americans, to get out of the US. And as crazy as it sounds, we also seen this same symbolism take place in Donald Glover's music video for This Is America. A full breakdown of that music video can be found in the description of this video. Donald Glover also had the biggest record on the Get Out soundtrack called Stay Woke. Are both Donald Glover and Jordan Peele trying to warn us of something? It really makes you wonder if the title of this movie, Us, is a double meaning for the United States. Maybe he's warning all Americans to get out of the United States before it's too late. It may seem far-fetched to some people, but when you watch the trailer for this movie, it's clear that this movie is all about double meanings. In the movie industry, double meanings are usually accompanied by Illuminati signs and symbolism. And when it comes to Jordan Peele's new movie, Us, the horror comedian holds no punches. So in today's video, we're going to do a full breakdown of the hidden signs and symbols you may have missed in the trailer for the upcoming film, Us. My name is Devin Worlds, and this is Us.
It's us.
Before I go forward, I must remind everyone that this is just a conspiracy theory and it is not intended to harm anyone or anything. Now, when it comes to the trailer for the upcoming movie Us, many people have come up with their own theories about what is going to take place in this film. The one thing that people can't exactly figure out is what is the reason why Jordan Peele would use the song I Got 5 on It to present his new horror film. But today, I have a creepy theory, and it involves every single one of us. So every 2,160 years or so, it is said that we enter into a new age. Many people still believe that the Mayans incorrectly predicted the end of the world, but it has been proven by several scholars and archaeologists that the real translation was not about the end of the world, but about the end of an age. Before 2012, we were in what was known as the Age of Pisces, the fourth age. But after 2012, we entered a new age, the Age of Aquarius, the fifth age. Therefore, we see so many major corporations, movies, video games, and songs about the number 5. Here are just a few so you can see how much they put it in our face. For the Illuminati, the fifth age is indeed the beginning of the New World Order.
The affirmative task we have now is to actually create a new world order.
And the song I Got 5 on It isn't the only way Jordan Peele promotes this fifth age symbolism. The number 5 can be found several times in this trailer. If you need proof that we are now in the fifth age, then take a look at the world around you. The Pisces is a water sign. The Pisces age was all about drugs, vaccinations, chemicals, anything water-based. Although Aquarius is often known as the water bearer, Aquarius is really an air sign. So notice how from the late 80s throughout the 90s leading all the way into the age of Aquarius, we have been introduced to more things, more technologies that take place through the air, like lasers, invisible frequencies, bandwidths, signals, RFID implants, 4G, and now 5G, flying drones that deliver packages and everything else. Here's a short clip of an astrologist by the name of Diana Garland talking more about it.
But also, Aquarius is not a private sign. Aquarius is about the collective. It's all about sharing, and Facebook and all of these social media sites. No more privacy anymore. And the worry that I have as we're adjusting and coming very slowly as the light is dimming up, coming into the age of Aquarius, that we won't, we'll start to lose individual human rights.
So perhaps Jordan Peele is warning us to get out of the US now. Perhaps he's warning us of the fifth age, the New World Order. Perhaps this is exactly what he means when he says, watch yourself, and that we are our own worst enemies. This could also literally mean be careful of the things you do. There is no more privacy. Everything is being exposed. The all-seeing eye is watching us. Or it could even mean watch your own government, your own country, your own fellow citizens, because anybody can be an agent for the system. Now think about that for a moment.
But how we move forward, age of information, is going to be the difference between whether we survive or whether we become some kind of fucked up dystopia. Thank you. Stay woke, bitches.
When it comes to Hollywood, it seems as if you can always expect to see themes of Freemasonry. In the movie Us seems to be no different. It is said that Freemasons believe in duality, in double meanings, in double speak. It is also said that Freemasons believe in the power of light and darkness, of good and evil. They would tell you that Jesus is the good guy, while at the same time they will tell you that Lucifer is also the good guy. This is why in every Freemasonry lodge you see a checkerboard floor. You also see this regularly in movies, including Jordan Peele's new movie, Us. Notice in this scene how the son's pants have the checker pattern, along with his pillows, his blanket, his bumblebee plush, which stands for the same thing, and even his curtains. It's not just in the little boy's room. Look at the curtains in this scene, and if you pay close attention, you can also see the same checkerboard pattern on the curtains in this scene. And you can also see the checkered pattern on the floor in this scene. And if that's not enough evidence to convince you that this is an Illuminati Freemason film, then maybe the release date will. The release date for this film is oddly set for March 22nd, or 322. The number 322 is widely known as the number of another secret society, known as Skull and Bones. The number 322 can even be found in their own insignia. What's even more crazy is it's a well-known fact that many of our U.S. politicians are a part of a secret fraternal order, including but not limited to the Freemasons, the Boule, and Skull and Bones. And people believe all these secret societies collectively make up the most powerful group in the world, known to many today as the Illuminati. So when watching the trailer for this movie Us, one of the first things that you should have noticed was the Monkey Paw Productions logo on the screen. We see and hear the spoon hit the side of the teacup, just like in the movie Get Out. This is a method of hypnosis, and it is meant to put you to sleep or into the sunken place. Also notice how the monkey paw hand is making the sign 666. Is that a coincidence? In my opinion, No. But then again, that's just my opinion. But another thing, as a black man, I am not comfortable with the fact that this movie was produced by a production company called Monkey Paw. It is clear and plain to see that this movie is targeted to African Americans. I am starting to wonder if this is subliminally calling black people monkeys. From the moment the teaspoon hits the teacup, this symbolizes the hypnosis or mind control that is being put on you, the unsuspecting viewer. At this moment, you begin your trip down the rabbit hole until you finally reach your destination, Wonderland, where things really begin to get strange.
No time to say goodbye. Hello, I'm late.
Are you beginning to feel crazy? Maybe you shouldn't have followed that white rabbit. Many conspiracy theorists believe that movies such as The Wizard of Oz, Pinocchio, and Sleeping Beauty are used in MKUltra Monarch programming. In each case, the slave is given a particular interpretation of the movie storyline in order to enhance programming. For example, a MKUltra slave watching The Wizard of Oz is taught that somewhere over the rainbow is the happy place, where a disassociative trauma slave must go in order to escape the unbearable pain being inflicted upon them through electric shock therapy. In fact, if you ever seen The Wizard of Oz 2, this is exactly what is happening to Dorothy, and this movie just happens to be made by the same company that made the other MKUltra movies mentioned before. That's right, Disney. And one of the biggest Disney films of all time just happens to be one of the biggest MKUltra movies to ever exist. And the movie Us is filled with this symbolism from this movie. If you followed that white rabbit, then you know I'm talking about Alice in Wonderland. It is said that MKUltra handlers tell the MKUltra victim, which are usually in some insane asylum, to follow the rabbit and disassociate. This ultimately helps them, the victim, to separate their minds from their bodies. This is why Disney movies and other shows are so important to programmers. They are the perfect hypnotic tool to get the child's mind to disassociate in the right direction. In several different versions of Alice in Wonderland, Alice is locked up in an insane asylum and has gone under MKUltra shock therapy. That is why nobody believes her about Wonderland. They just simply think she's crazy. This is the exact same thing that happened to Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz 2. In the trailer for the movie Us, we are shown the Alice in Wonderland rabbit symbolism over and over again. Is the mother in the movie Us playing the role of Alice? Is she actually crazy? Is she actually locked away in an insane asylum? And if not her, then most definitely the doppelgangers who appear to come from a parallel universe or world of their own, just like Wonderland. But at any rate, it would appear that the mom is indeed playing the role of Alice, and according to the synopsis of this film that can be found on the website usmovie.com, she is haunted by unexplainable and unresolved trauma from her past and compounded by a string of eerie coincidences. Could this movie be Jordan Peele's way of using mind control to send us all to Wonderland?
And it's a big culture of mind control too. MKUltra mind control rules in Hollywood. If you don't know, Google that and look into it.
There's a lot of things that the rabbits could symbolize, but perhaps the rabbits also symbolize the use of cloning. What if the good family is actually the doppelgangers of the seemingly crazy family? What if the crazy family that appears to have come from the insane asylum we see in the movie were cloned, and the rabbits were the first cloning experiment before humans? This would explain why the crazy family wants to kill their doppelgangers, because their lives were stolen. But for now, this is all speculation. Of course, we won't know anything until the Skull and Bones date of March 22nd. But if it's one thing I know, Sleeping Beauty and Snow White are almost the same movie. Aurora pokes her finger on a thorn and falls into an eternal sleep, and Snow White eats the poison apple and also falls into an eternal sleep. It is said that both movies are often used in Monarch MKUltra programming, and in the scene that shows the mom as a little girl, we see in her hand the apple, which is another common Illuminati symbol because it stands for forbidden fruit, forbidden knowledge from God. MKUltra victims are often told to eat the apple like Snow White so they can rest and be at peace, so they can disassociate from reality. Wonderland and Oz can only be found in a very deep sleep.
But it wasn't a dream. It was a place. And you were there.
And just like in every MKUltra film, you can find the use of magic in this film. In this scene, you can clearly see an attraction on the beach called Merlin's Forest. You can also see the arrow pointing inside, and it says, "Find yourself." Ironically, later in the film, the whole family will find themselves. Also in this scene, you can see the two little boys in the closet. To some people, it may seem as if the boys are mirroring each other, but I happen to believe that they are doing a magic ritual of some sorts. You can see a clue to this by observing the upside down magic board found in the closet. Candyland symbolizes another world, another land, and guess who, while both boys are wearing a mask, is like Jordan Peele's way of asking us to guess which is the real family and which is the fake.
Is it me? Is it you? Who knows? It's you! Can you guess who with the mystery? You're missing where I...
With all the signs and symbols discussed so far about the movie Us, it's hard to believe that there could even be more. In the family's beach house, you can find this picture on the wall. In a closer shot, you can see clearly what is taking place in this picture. Does this pose look familiar to you? How about now? This image mirrors this scene in the Donald Glover music video for This Is America. Is this another clue that Jordan Peele is warning us that us is a double meaning for the US? The more I watch the trailer, the more I feel like this movie will have some sort of connection to Get Out, whether it's a prequel or sequel. And no, the movie is not called Get Out 2, but that doesn't mean both movies don't take place in the same universe and aren't somehow connected to each other. After all, Annabelle, The Conjuring, and The Nun all have different names but are all connected and presented as sequels and prequels to the other films in the Conjuring universe. Also take notice how the movies seemingly start off the same way. In Us, the family is driving down a road to reach their destination where things will get crazy. The same thing for Chris and his girlfriend in Get Out. The monkey paw logo with the teacup from Get Out. Now most might just believe this is simply the logo they came up with for Monkey Paw, but on the website for the movie Us, the Monkey Paw logo doesn't have a teacup. The same shocking and memorable face expression that Chris makes in Get Out when he is sent into the sunken place is the same face the mother makes when she meets her doppelganger as a little girl for the first time. Also, the mother crying strangely resembles the grandmother crying in the movie Get Out. But perhaps all of this is just a coincidence. But I'm willing to bet Jordan Peele has a surprise in this movie for his fans of Get Out. I'm willing to bet that this movie is secretly Get Out 2.
If you want to get crazy.
Throughout the trailer, Jordan Peele put us all through a psychological test called the Rorschach test. Probably to see how crazy we are. And you know,
We can get crazy.
whether you agree with the theories presented in today's video or not, Jordan Peele clearly had a message for us during the Rorschach test presented in this trailer. We see this ink blot at the end of the trailer. What is it that you see? If you see a rabbit, then you may not be crazy after all, and you might understand what his message was all along. He wants us to follow the White Rabbit on March 22nd.
White Rabbit.
In the end, I really enjoyed Us. It had what I was looking for a movie like this, where I get out and I'm like, I like the Outer Limits, I like the Twilight Zone. This reminded me of that.
You're traveling through another dimension, a dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition, and it lies between the pits of one's fears and the summit of one's knowledge. You are now traveling through a dimension of imagination. You just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
Strength and honor.
Strength and honor.
Strength and honor. At my signal, unleash hell.
Us, the new and fascinating horror movie written and directed by Jordan Peele, is unlike any horror movie ever made. Jordan Peele is a master at hiding signs and symbols in his movies that usually have fans theorizing about the hidden meanings behind his films. But with all the conspiracy theories floating around online about the movie Us, what is it about this movie exactly that nobody is talking about? Is there a deeper and hidden meaning behind this film that has yet to be discussed? Today, on Up TV, we're going to take a deep dive into the world of Us and discover the real scary truth about Jordan Peele's new movie. If you haven't seen this movie yet, then I must warn you, there will be spoilers. My name is Devin Worlds, and this is Us.
You know how sometimes things line up? Coincidences?
Around roadway system here that runs all the way to Maine, to Washington, D.C., to Colorado. It's fully stocked. It runs completely underground. And you can see they've been hauling tons of military equipment. You know, they're stocking all these bases. Now, the other thing is the railroad system here is also very strategic. They're bringing in boxcar loads and they're dump shipping here, and they can really deliver to all these locations, which these locations go all the way to Area 51. These locations go all the way to Washington, D.C. There's access underneath the White House to this location, okay? So this is a strategic location, which is really the new command center for the Illuminati and the United States government. Well, forget the United States government. This is a headquarters for the Illuminati. This is where they'll ship most of their supplies. When they go underground, they can stay underground for quite some time. And this is stocked with food, water, everything they need. It's an underground city. So this is the north entrance, and we're gonna go see if we can do some more digging.
The movie Us is a film that has many layers for audiences to peel back. Conspiracy theories, the truth about the United States, and even biblical messages are sprinkled in almost every scene of this movie. Us immediately begins with a bit of bone-chilling truth that has been tied to many well-known conspiracy theories for some time now. Across the U.S., there are thousands of miles of underground tunnels that have been long forgotten. They include abandoned subway tunnels, unused sewers or old mine shafts, and many have no clear purpose at all. Many conspiracy theorists believe that these underground tunnels are no longer just merely subway tunnels or old mine shafts. Some people believe that the United States government is using these underground tunnels as a means to stay off the radar of the public. They believe that the government is trafficking secret technology to places like Area 51, and through these secret tunnels, they have access to almost anywhere in the U.S., including but not limited to the White House, the Pentagon, and possibly even your local Walmart.
Well, the Jade Helm videos,
Is that
a lot of them were saying about Walmart closings. When the first of the Walmart closings started, they started talking about how they were putting fences around them and making them into federal camps, and people were hearing booming noises right before they did that at the one in Ohio. And I've been living in Blythewood here for the last year now, and I've been hearing booming noises, and that's been kind of frightening me, because when I heard one of the videos in the Ohio one saying that they heard booming noises, that showed that they were talking about building underground places. And there's been so many of these Walmarts being closed down and turned into these federal facilities and closed off. And when they take a Walmart from a town, that this is the only store that these people have to get everything from. There's only one other grocery store that's in this town. So why would you close down a grocery store that everybody, all these old people get their medicine from? That just says a lot. And I kind of feel like it's because we're a bunch of country folks out here, so we're not gonna put a big old protest. And a lot of the people, when I talk to them out here, a lot of them don't know about Jade Helm, and they're not familiarized with a lot of the stuff. A lot of people say it's conspiracy theory stuff, but if you go to these other Walmarts and then you see what they're doing out in the West Coast, why is the federal government buying all this property out in the West Coast? The West Coast is one who's been fussing and fussing about it, and the East Coast just has been blind to it, and the media is truly being blind to it. Although there has been episodes where they've had some media people report on it, and then they got hushed up, very hushed up. And there's been reports of media people being hushed up as soon as they reported about it.
Not only do people believe that the government is using these underground tunnels to move tech and resources from one location to another, they also believe that the government has built highly technological cities underground. As far-fetched as it might sound, understand that many ancient civilizations across the world have built underground cities before. Imagine the type of cities we can make today with the technology we currently have. And some say you can gain access to one of these underground cities through tunnels that connect directly to the Denver airport. The Denver airport has long been a creepy mystery to unsuspecting travelers. The airport is filled with many murals that seem to suggest the world as we know it is coming to an end. People believe that this is the government's way of letting us know that they plan to escape the disaster by retreating to their underground city somewhere under the Denver International Airport. They even have a sign in the airport that says the New World Airport Commission. The problem with the sign is the fact that nobody really knows what the New World Airport Commission is or who the members are. But despite how you feel about there being underground cities, we also know for a fact that many underground bunkers have been built by the rich and the elite in an attempt to avert some type of upcoming disaster. What is it exactly that our government is trying to hide from us? The Bible in Isaiah chapter 2 verse 19 warns us that people will flee to caves in the rocks, into the holes in the ground, from the fearful presence of the Lord in the splendor of his majesty, when he rises to shake the earth. Could this be prophecy manifesting right before our very own eyes? The fictional world of Us, created by Jordan Peele, is a world that is parallel to our own. The movie Us subtly reveals to us hidden truths about us, the US, the United States. This is exactly why the movie Us is so scary, and the reason why it feels like you're watching an episode of The Twilight Zone. Jordan Peele's movie Get Out was all about mind control, and in a way, you can say the movie Us is also about mind control. Us immediately begins with Jordan Peele putting us into the sunken place. The first thing you see is the Monkey Paw Productions logo with the spoon and the teacup from the movie Get Out. Also notice how the monkey paw is throwing up the occult sign for 666. Many people believe that this hand sign, along with the Baphomet hand sign, is used by MKUltra handlers to keep control over the MKUltra victim. The first thing you hear is the spoon stirring around the edge of the teacup. In Get Out, this sound effect was used as a form of mind control and ultimately was the way the mom sent her victims into the sunken place. This may be our first major clue that this movie, like Get Out, is indeed about mind control. Although done in a fictional way, it would appear that Jordan Peele is subliminally making us face a horrific truth about a historical secret that the US government and the CIA would probably prefer to keep covered up. Project MKUltra, also called the CIA Mind Control Program, is the code name given to a program of experiments on human subjects that were designed and undertaken by the United States Central Intelligence Agency, and which were at times illegal. MKUltra used numerous methods to manipulate people's mental state and alter brain functions, including the administration of drugs like LSD and other chemicals, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, isolation, verbal and sexual abuse, and other forms of torture. Fluoride is another chemical that people believe the US government uses to keep control over the American people. They say that the government does this by making fluoride mandatory for almost every public water system in the US. Not to mention, most major brands of toothpaste also contains fluoride. In the movie Us, the daughter Zora tells her family that the government is putting fluoride in the water to control us. When no one responds back, she says, "Oh, I forgot. No one cares about the end of the world."
When was the last time you stopped to think about the one thing you can't live without? No, I'm not talking about the internet. I'm talking about water. Without clean drinking water, life couldn't go on. So it's probably important that we know what's in the water we drink. For the past 65 years, city governments nationwide have been adding a substance called fluoride to the water supply. The practice of water fluoridation started at a time in history when asbestos, PCBs, and DDT were all deemed safe and effective. And although all of these chemicals have been banned since, fluoridation is still a common practice. However, it's uniquely American. The US has more people drinking fluoridated water than the rest of the world combined. In fact, most industrialized nations do not fluoridate their water, including Japan and 97% of Europe. So what exactly is it that we're ingesting? Well, it's not the same fluoride that's in your toothpaste. What's being added to municipal water supplies is a fluorine compound called hydrofluorosilicic acid, and it's a byproduct from the phosphate fertilizer industry. Yes, you heard me right. Let me break this down for you. Gaseous fluoride is produced during fertilizer production. Now, it used to go straight into the atmosphere from these factories, but presently, filtration devices are used to contain the toxic chemicals, and what's extracted from the filters is then condensed into a water-based solution, which is packaged unrefined and sold to city governments for the purpose of water fluoridation. So how did this all start? Well, interestingly, in 1944, the American Dental Association themselves published that it was not worth the health risk to fluoridate water supplies. Too bad no one heeded their warning, because the very next year, Grand Rapids, Michigan became the first community to fluoridate.
Hi, I'm Oprah Winfrey. I need your help. On Sunday, May 25th, I need you to hold someone's hand. It can be anyone you want. Your family, your neighbor, your best friend, even a stranger. Join Channel 7 and 6 million Americans coast to coast in a chain to help fight hunger and homelessness in the United States. Call 1-800-USA-9000 and lend a hand across America.
In the movie Us, many of the underground tunnels mentioned before were turned into government facilities where the United States government first cloned rabbits and later humans. The cloned humans living in these underground government facilities were called the tethered because they had a direct connection to their original counterpart. In the movie, we learned that the government wanted to use the tethered to control the population. On Sunday, May 25th of 1986, a public event called Hands Across America was formed, in which approximately 6.5 million people held hands for 15 minutes in an attempt to form a continuous human chain across the U.S. Hands Across America was a project of USA for Africa. USA for Africa produced the song We Are the World, which was written and sung by Michael Jackson. The combined revenues raised by both events raised almost $100 million to fight famine in Africa and hunger and homelessness in the United States. In the movie Us, we are left to assume that this was the government's way of testing the American people to see if they can be controlled by their tethered clone. Underground, Hands Across America was a huge success, but above ground, Hands Across America was considered a huge failure. Just as there were sections where the line was 6 to 10 people deep, there were also undoubtedly many breaks in the chain. However, enough people did participate that if an average of all the participants had been taken and spread evenly along the route standing 4 feet apart, an unbroken chain across the 48 contiguous states would have been able to be formed. But because this didn't happen, many people seen the event as a failed experiment. Realizing that the tether couldn't control their counterparts because they had no soul, the government deemed the tethered as a failed experiment and left the tethered underground to fend for themselves, forever mimicking whatever their original counterpart is doing. For example, if the original person was feasting on a fancy meal, the tethered clone underground was feasting on rabbits to survive.
Hands Across America was a demonstration that holds the duality of America in it perfectly symbolically for me. This hope, if we hold our hands, will cure homelessness, will cure hunger. Was that it was well intended? Was that a solution, or was that a way of not actually dealing with it?
Knowing that the movie Us is constantly aligning with real life events, you have to really ask yourself if it's possible that human cloning is actually taking place in the United States. Here on Up TV, we created a documentary called Stop Human Cloning that gives some real insight on this topic. Although most people instantly dismiss the claims as just another conspiracy theory, there are still many people who believe that human cloning has been a thing our government figured out how to do a long time ago. Here is a short clip of a famous rapper by the name of B.O.B. talking more about it.
A lot of people that find out about this cloning stuff find it very frightening. And yes, it is scary. And a lot of that fear comes from the fact that we've been programmed to believe that we're the only sentient beings on the planet. On the plane. You can't hold on to old, obsolete beliefs that you've been taught. Like, everything that you've been taught is a lie.
When it comes to the movie Us, it should be clear to you by now that this movie is a movie about, well, us. Before the release of this movie, I did a full breakdown of the trailer. I talked about things like the meaning of the number 5 and why Jordan Peele used the song I Got 5 on it for this movie. I even talked about the common symbolism that I noticed in this movie, like the release date being 3/22 and the meaning of the checkered patterns that could be found in almost every scene of this movie. I don't plan to repeat anything I've already talked about in the previous video, so if you haven't seen it yet, please go check it out. You won't be disappointed. It's truly amazing that I was able to pull so much symbolism out of one trailer. It's not uncommon to see American Illuminati symbolism in a movie, but you'll be hard-pressed to find a movie with the amount of symbolism that can be found in a Jordan Peele movie. If you're paying close attention to every detail and every prop in this film, you begin to notice Illuminati symbolism carefully hidden throughout this film. The pyramid is one of the most common Illuminati signs that people notice and point out. I never seen an actual pyramid in this movie, but I did notice a baseball pennant at the beginning of the movie when young Adelaide's father was playing a game at the amusement park. The pennant said the word pyramid on it. I've searched and searched online to find one similar to the one I seen in the movie. I couldn't find one pennant that had the word pyramid on it. Was this made just for the movie? Was this Jordan Peele's way of letting us know who he truly works for?
Yes. Yes. That's the most rewarding part for me, is to see people engage in conversation in things I'm interested in. And to, I'm always trying to point my commentary at things that I feel like deserve conversation. So I love that. But I also, just people looking for them Easter eggs is that's a treat for me. Sometimes people find things I don't even mean.
That you didn't mean.
When young Adelaide wanders off from her parents in the fun house with the Hall of Mirrors, one of the first jump scares for the movie was an owl that kind of just popped out of nowhere. The owl is another major Illuminati sign that stands for the Bohemian Owl. Bohemian Grove is a restricted 2,700-acre campground located at 2601 Bohemian Avenue in Monte Rio, California, United States, belonging to a private San Francisco-based gentlemen's club known as the Bohemian Club. At the edge of an artificial lake in the middle of the grove is a 40-foot owl statue that has been the centerpiece of a secret ceremony which takes place on the first night of the club's annual encampment. Performed after dark in front of the members, a small boat crosses the lake towards a group of dark hooded figures waiting at the owl statue, with a high priest who receives a human effigy from the ferryman, places it on the foot of the shrine, and sets it on fire. It's also interesting to note that on the back of the $1 bill you can find a little creature. Some people believe it to be a spider because of the webbed background of the bill. Others believe it to be part of a skull and crossbone when turned sideways, but most people believe it's a tiny owl staring right back at you. And to no surprise, you can also find the Illuminati one-eye symbolism in this movie as well. But when it comes to mirrors, they have always been a product of superstition by almost every culture on Earth. Mirrors are considered to be portals to other worlds. They are also still used today as seeing objects for psychics, and fortune tellers also use them to predict the future. Some ancient cultures believed that mirrors reflected the shadow soul and could show the true nature of the person being reflected.
In verse 9 it says, "Then the Lord said to me, there is a conspiracy among the people of Judah and those who live in Jerusalem." And he's basically saying that even though King Josiah brought reforms to the people, there is actually a conspiracy, which is a conspiracy means a secret effort that is under the surface to do something either illegal or against the norm. And God says to Jeremiah, there's a conspiracy among the people. There's this reform on the outside, but it's skin deep, and beneath that, the people still, they long for their pagan practices and their pagan ways. He says in verse 10, look with me in verse 10, "They have returned to the sins of their forefathers, who refused to listen to my words. They have followed other gods to serve them. Both the house of Israel and the house of Judah have broken the covenant I made with their forefathers." And so God reveals here that to Jeremiah that this was a deliberate refusal. So he says in verse 11, "Therefore this is what the Lord says, I will bring on them a disaster they cannot escape. Although they cry out to me, I will not listen to them."
When it comes to symbolism found in the movie Us, there is probably none more important than Jeremiah 11:11. This Bible verse was shown multiple times throughout this film, and it reads, "Therefore, thus says the Lord, behold, I will bring evil upon them, which they shall not be able to escape. And though they shall cry unto me, I will not hearken unto them." Jeremiah often prophesies certain doom for the worship of false idols. This sounds quite a bit like how Adelaide's doppelganger Red believes she is being tested by God to lead the tethered from doom. Jeremiah's narrative in the Bible also coincides with the exile of the Jews in Babylon, which sounds similar to the exile of the tethered below ground. But Jeremiah 11:11 isn't just an old prophecy. We will see this same kind of judgment from the Most High in the last days. After 9/11/2001, many people started seeing the number 11 everywhere. So many people reported seeing the number 1111 everywhere they went that it was officially dubbed as the 1111 phenomenon. Many New Agers began to claim that this was spiritual ascended masters or angels speaking to people, but many believed that the number 1111 was the Most High's way of letting us know that the end is soon near. One search online and you can find many people telling their story of visions and dreams they had about the last days and how the number 1111 was one of many ways the Lord is speaking to us.
Man, this is like some therapy session right here.
Us is a movie that speaks to us on so many levels. But when it comes to the movie Us, it would seem as if Jordan Peele had one social message that he wanted to convey. The tethered living underground is actually a representation of the lower class of America, and everyone enjoying life above ground represents the higher class of society. Many of us become our own enemies when we allow the comforts of our own success and wealth to change who we are for the worse. Rich people fear the poor and even work to actively keep the poor broke. Time has shown us over and over again that if given the opportunity, someone from the lower class can be just as successful, if not more successful, than an individual who comes from privilege and simply just inherited their wealth.
You know, I've lived a privileged life of an American, grew up middle class, had an education, I've always been fed, I've always had shoes. And I've neglected I've neglected what that privilege means in terms of the people who have suffered and continue to suffer so I could have it. Yeah. We're connected to other people. Somebody made these shoes. Yeah. You know, so I think that was the part of the message that I wanted to then apply to the us of it, you know, the United States.
At the end of the movie Us, the tethered were indeed successful at forming a chain that spread across the U.S. The real Adelaide proved to us that they could do what we could not. When I ponder on this movie, I can't help but to think Jordan Peele was promoting the occult mentality of as above, so below, and so within, so without. This becomes clear when you begin to notice that everything happening above ground in this movie is happening below ground. The humans, for the most part, was able to control their tethered counterpart by expressing how they feel inwardly. But a tethered, if strong enough, can also control its human counterpart. We've seen both scenarios take place in this movie. Perhaps this was Jordan Peele's way of saying we are all connected in the great circle of life.
Hey! 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 Hey!
Jordan Peele, the creator of Get Out and the new movie Us, loves to hide signs and symbols in his movies. His movies are filled with double meanings and subliminal messages. But what are your thoughts? Did you notice the signs and symbols mentioned in today's video? Was there anything that you noticed that I missed? Sound off in the comment section and let me know what your thoughts are. And because there will be no Up TV without viewers like you, I would like to give a special shout out to William Johnson for purchasing 2 Up TV shirts. Words can't express how much I appreciate the love and support. Also, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Also hit that bell so you can get notified anytime I upload a new video. This is Devin with Up TV. I love you, family, and I'll holla at y'all later. Peace.
It's a little bit of a Rorschach test at the same time.
How so?
Well, in that, you know, different people can see different things in this movie because we all have our own personal demons. We all have our own personal us versus them.
Thank you for watching Up TV. If you like this video and would love to see more, check out these great videos here. And don't forget to subscribe to Up TV and Up TV 2 for even more great videos.